Everyone, if you want to go ahead and take roll.
Flamini,
Yep.
Thunderbird,
Here.
Johnson, Lopez,
Here.
McFarland,
Here.
Moore,
Here.
Zimmers.
Here.
That is 7 in attendance.
Okay, President's Report. Tonight I want to talk about the last couple weeks I've had the opportunity to be with Senator Andy Menard. Once was a press conference that he held across from Feitchen's talking about Senate Bill 16, and also last Thursday at Union Baptist, Mr. McFarland, Mrs. Moore, and myself were able to attend a town hall meeting that he held at Union Baptist. You so often hear about legislators that are doing nothing. I think this is one individual in our state, particularly in our area, that's thinking outside the box and trying to think of some alternative ways for school funding. And one of the things he described to us the other night that made sense is the disparity and the inequities among school districts in the state. And he gave us an example about East St. Louis, who collects about $1,200 per student from property taxes, up to the suburban schools who get $18,000 to mid-20s from property tax alone. Right there just tells you there's a great disparity, and that is what he's trying to get at. This cannot continue. We cannot expect all school districts to give equal education to students when there's that much dollar amount disparity. And so I want to urge everyone in our community, talk to your legislatures, talk it up. Senate Bill 16, it's already passed the Senate, it's in the House now. This will be of great benefit to this school district, so let's not sit here idly and expect somebody else to do it. Get on the horn and start calling your congressman. So that's
Not congressman, your
legislative.
representative.
Representative.
Illinois House. And the Illinois House is already passed.
All right.
Yeah, that's true, but getting to the house.
Yeah. Thank you for the clarification. So, yes, please, contact your representatives so we can get this done. And with that, I'm done with President's comments, now board salutes. And you want to start with Mr. Flamini?
Went to the the teacher appreciation thing. That was really neat. I was there about an hour. I'd like to say I saw a lot of people I knew that, having been away for a while, there's a lot of young faces in there, and really very, very nice, very well done.
Mr. Shaver, it's your turn again. I was over at Isles. I went over there to see how the air conditioning worked. And 3 teachers and the principal told me what a wonderful job the gentleman who worked for you did, helping the teachers move back in, helping them make sure there were no problems, troubleshooting, that whole weekend before school started. So hats off to your crew. They did a great job, and everything is running smoothly and chill over there.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a number of people involved throughout the throttle and helping out there. So,
Much appreciated.
Mrs. Johnson?
Okay, so as a follow-up, so they're all in shape for the open house on Thursday?
yes.
Okay, good. I did talk to the principal too, so I heard some good things.
Good.
I think, first of all of us went to the Enos ribbon cutting, and that was a very nice event.
Nice.
Except for I forgot to sign the guest register, so I gotta
Oh, I
get
bet
back
you
up
do.
there.
Yeah, they still have that open, I bet.
I think it's still open.
Get it before it goes to time capsule.
So I'm gonna try to remember to do that. I also, several of us went to the Calvary Baptist Church, had a 30th anniversary dinner, and they had Dr. Steve Perry, who was the guest speaker, who was an educator at the Capitol, what's the name of it? Preparatory.
Preparatory, and it's in New York, yeah.
And he was a very dynamic speaker. Dr. Steve Perry, you should look up his name and get some information on him. I've tried to have several conversations with several different people, and they know who they are, about what he had to say, because he said a lot of the things that I say all the time about how we interact with our students and what we need to do to change education. But I have found that I have not been able to have a full conversation with anyone other than some of my friends who were sitting at the table with me, about what he had to say. So maybe we need to think about maybe doing a book review or having him back in for the school district so that his ideas can be spread around, because I think they're good ideas. And people, I think, are afraid to have discussions about how we educate kids, about race in schools, and what parents need to do, and how we need to approach children, putting children first in your district. Because if you put the children first in your district, you know that everything else is going to fall in place, because that's our responsibility to educate these young people. So anybody who's not afraid to have a good conversation about what Dr. Perry had to say, I would welcome you to call me. Don't be afraid. We have got to talk about the hard issues, okay? And I think that's my list for now.
Okay, thanks. Mr. McFarland.
First, I want to second what you said about Senator Menard's SB 16. The latest numbers we got from State Board of Ed says that SB 16 would equate to about $2.5 million of increase per year to 186. That's half of what we had to cut last year. So it's huge for us, and we do need to support it. Also was at the Teacher Appreciation, again, a wonderful event, hundreds of teachers there, and I want to thank the State Museum for putting that on again. And then finally, completely self-serving, I want to thank the Early Learning Center, which opened up for full classes today. My daughter was extremely excited to go back. The principal Grove over there, she's doing a wonderful job, and they're using a new system this year, the Remind system on the phones, that we have already gotten a few reminders from our teacher, from Principal Grove, about what's going on, and I really do appreciate how they're keeping us in the loop. It's a wonderful school over there.
Well, I'd like to salute Mr. Kincaid. Sandburg School is recognized as a PBIS Platinum School. Only 4% of schools across Illinois are recognized as Platinum schools, and it's the highest level of achievement in PBIS. And Sandburg is only one of only 3 schools south of Chicago that receive this honor. So I just want to congratulate Mr. Kincaid and also Sandburg School. I wanted to also thank the specific sponsors for the Teachers Appreciation event. It was a wonderful event. And so I want to thank the Illinois Educators Credit Union, Horace Mann Companies, SIU School of Medicine, Springfield Education Association, Troxel and Company, White Oaks Mall, Barnes & Noble Booksellers, Illinois Education Association, Land of Lincoln Retired Teachers Association, Springfield Principals Association, and the Lincoln Orbit Earth Science Society. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful event.
Okay. Now on to discussion items. 4.1, old business. Does anyone have any old business they'd like to bring up?
Well, I brought this up as new business. I'm hoping maybe next board meeting, are we still good to go? Mr. Shaver presenting kind of buildings and whatnot. Or do you want to push that to October, give more time?
Please.
October, good?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we shoot for the first meeting in October?
Second would be a lot much better for us.
I don't know if
Is
I'll
there-
be here. I'm having surgery, so but you might be lucky. So, all right.
We'll shoot for-
Let's shoot for second week.
Mouth
So-
surgery.
Okay.
I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, I'll tell you later.
Sound like my mom.
But we're also just, and I shared this with Mr. Lopez, you know, in 2015, we're also due for a more substantial look at all of our schools and where we need to go next. Is that correct,
Correct.
Mr.
There's
Shaver?
we're coming up on our 10-year health, life, safety anniversary. 2015, most of 95% of the buildings were done in the last reviewed in '05. So that report will be coming out. Many of our buildings were also newer, so they roll at a different anniversary. I'll have a look at items also. We started the process today, actually, to get an idea where we're at facilities-wise.
So let's shoot for October 20th. Is that cool?
Yeah, Joy, can you put that down so you have it? And
Thank
I
you.
think that'll, you know, be able to lay against what we've finished and completed and look to our future. It'll be great.
Right.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, any more old business that's not new? Business?
I think that what I have. I have one thing. On these robocalls,
Okay.
that anytime any building does robocalls, I don't know the technology, I'm sure the technology could be adjusted, that if a person misses it, 'cause I just happened to get a robocall from my grandson's school in Washington, and I clicked off, and then I couldn't get the message back. So if we could put the message on the system, so in case you it gets cut off, or people miss it, then they could know what somebody called from school and said, you know?
Okay.
There's a feature for that. There's a feature
Okay, well,
that we just have to activate.
okay, well, I don't know if we do it or not, but I think it'd be a good idea.
And also you can get it via email as well.
Okay.
And it'll read to you what the message was. So if you want an email, you can get it both ways.
Okay, so we could just remind people who do those things to do that, add that feature in, it would, might have to save somebody some problems.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, they play it twice, I know that.
Yes.
Get those at my own house.
Yeah, I know it plays twice, but sometimes if you cut it off.
Right.
before
Then you can't get
to
it
the first-
back, yeah,
Right.
can't get it back.
you know?
Mhm.
Okay, any other old business? Hearing none, any new business? I do have a question of Mrs. Boozer and Mrs. Morrison. I don't expect an answer tonight. I've just been curious about something. I've been meaning to ask this for a while. Could you guys do me a favor and kind of research? I'm interested in the Health and Science Academy at Southeast, about what kind of enrollment they have, what kind of involvement they actually have with the medical community. You know, we've kind of seen with physicals and immunizations how the medical community has really stepped up and helped this school district. And I'm kind of interested in what kind of connection we have at Southeast with its Health and Science Academy. If you guys at some point could just report out what you're finding.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, any other new business? Okay, hearing none, there are no presentations to the board. And now,
Financial report. Mr. Besco?
President Zimmers, members of the board, attaches the summary of revenue and expenditures for the month of August 2014 for the education and the operations and maintenance funds. An accounts receivable outstanding report is also included. As of August, outstanding state payments were $43,300. For August, the education fund had revenues of $4.91 million and expenditures of $5.86 million, with expenditures exceeding revenues by $948,000. O&M fund, revenues were $306,300 and expenditures were $1.22 million, with expenditures exceeding revenues by $920,000.
any questions of Mr. Basco?
Now that we're rolling on the new year, how are we looking in terms of the line of credit? What's the plans for that going into 14-15?
Well, as far as we know, we're still going to be, about on the same time frame. We shouldn't have to use it until, tap into it in the spring.
Okay.
We'll get our big tax payment this month, and then then some more tax money will trickle in over the next couple months after that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
All right, the question everybody's been wanting to know about the numbers for our immunizations and physicals. Those students today that did not have those requirements complete were excluded from school today. And our number was, may seem high, it was 283, but last year, on October 15th, before we changed our date with board policy that said we would have our students in within 10 days, the number on October 15th last year was 740. So not only we have reduced it to 283, we're only at 10 days. And we totally want to thank the community and the parents. I sent out personal thank yous to all the school nurses today, all the psychologists, all the social workers, all the parent educators who we know were out there on the ground, as well as the principals, kind of knocking on doors, leaving door knockers, making phone calls, those robocalls, but also our community groups that really reached out. The Keep Keep Kids in School Coalition. Started with SIU School of Medicine, Pediatrics and Family Medicine, Sangamon County Department of Public Health, and the Central County's Health Centers. And that was the group along with Mr. Zimmers and Lou Baker and Mr. Sanders and people who just said this is too many students that we're excluding from school. And it was at a very integral time of the school year, into the quarter, where students were missing their final exams for that quarter and just really having a hard time getting back on track. So organizations beyond that, though, really reached out. We had Midwest Technical Institute, Dr. Nikki Florence from Memorial Physician Services at Cokie Mill, St. Clair's Clinic. All of those people also came together and provided services outside of the three organizations that I mentioned. Just, it was really a community coming together, and they even put clinics in place just this last school week, because we called them and said, we're way too high still, what can we do? And they even activated this just past week to really help those numbers get down even further. We expect that number to drop tomorrow even, because we know parents had appointments today, and we're going and getting things taken care of and bringing their materials back in. So our nurses each day will help keep us up to date on where those numbers are, but we never want to exclude a child, but this is a law that we have to follow, and we want to make sure that we're getting students in school and really supporting them. Do you have anything else you'd like to say, Mr. Zimmers?
I do. I mean, I am just so proud of everybody who worked on this. You know, Val Rogers did a yeoman's job. You know, all the school nurses, the social workers, the parent educators, the secretaries, the principals, everybody involved in the schools really pitched in and did a lot. I think this is a prime example of people thinking outside the box, changing, you know, what, because you've always done it doesn't mean it always works, and so we tried something different this year, and I think it's so far been successful. You know, we're going to meet with this group of people that you just recognized in a couple of weeks. I think it's like 10 days maybe, to kind of reevaluate, you know, what happened this year, what we can do differently, how we can even make it better for next year. And I just applaud everybody that really stepped up and pitched in on this. I think it's just made a huge difference. We don't want any kids out of school, but to reduce the number that we've had to exclude is phenomenal.
And our work
So,
isn't going to stop here. We're going to still support families, help them get wherever they need to go to make sure that we reduce that number down to zero.
And that has a positive effect on state aid, too.
Right.
That's very
And
important.
our high schools, huge shout out to them. We have just, no, like Lanphier had 36 today, Southeast 32, and Springfield High 16, and that's out of anywhere from 1,300 to 1,400 students, only having that many. So they've really worked hard. That's just a ton of students that have to have things in, and we don't have any school that's over 42. That's the school that, one school's at 42, but we know that those are going to reduce even tomorrow because they knew families were going. So I just want to, you know, once again, I give a shout out to my cabinet too, because I maybe got a little bit excited about the number last week and got a little specific about what we needed to do, and then we reached out to the principals and got specific as well. So shout out to them, but sometimes we have to light the fire and make sure we know where the calendar is. But thanks to everybody, and Val probably never wants to see an email from me ever again, but that's okay. And we worked hard together. I think she understood where we were coming from. So it was a really good effort, but we still have 283 kids out, and we're going to continue and support those families and help them in any way we can. And I know the community's behind us. Another number you've been probably wanting to hear is our 10-day enrollment too. We were at 15,063 students. We know that a few students probably came in today and weren't on the system when we checked earlier, so we're working with schools. We expect that number to go up even just a little bit beyond that number, but that's a strong accounting. It's really level student attendance and enrollment, give or take a few. So we'll get that report out to everybody when it's an official 10-day report, but we wanted to give you the numbers that were unofficial today as we kind of entered in after Labor Day weekend here. Just another few. I know I don't have shout out time, but we do have some things, people that really help us in the community get off to a good start with our office supplies and school supplies. AT&T donated office supplies and a pallet jack for our business services, office over there. That's approximately $500, so we want to give them a shout out for that. First Day Fund, also Reverend Dr. John Charlton III and all the community volunteers, including Jason Neville from SJR, came and helped. And we had Lanphier High School JV, varsity Palms, cheerleading teams, and football team helped out at that day. Southeast High School football team, Springfield High School basketball team, football team, and the cheerleading team were all present for First Day Fun, and we got those supplies out to the schools, and those are being passed out. If they didn't sign up for them, they all went out to the schools equally, and those are being given to students. And then Horace Mann, not only for the work that they did at the Teacher Appreciation last week, along with the School Foundation and the State Museum, but also they did Stuff the Bus and the Walmart gift cards. So just another great community outpouring, ways to help us kick off the school year in a great way, and I really appreciate all their support. So those are the big reports today.
You know,
All
those, those school supplies has been institutionalized in this district. You would be surprised how that spread and how many people out there, how many churches and other entities are packing those
Well,
for kids. It's just
I know, and
unbelievable.
it's so much fun to get school supplies, or always was for me, so I don't
Yep.
know, it's great to get them no matter where you get them at. And I guess I wanted to kind of second on Donna's report about Sandburg. That's a pretty big deal that they got the Platinum Award, and I just want to second you did a very good job of explaining it. But when we talk about environment for learning and having everything in place so that school feels like a safe place, a respectful place, it's conducive to learning. Many of our schools are on the process of moving towards these types of awards with PBIS. It's paperwork that you fill out and you kind of prove and show data behind what you've been doing throughout the school year to support social, emotional, and academic success along the way. So just a shout out to them as being leaders. They actually get visited by other school districts to see the work that they're doing. And we have many other schools that are on that continuum as well. So I think a report on PBIS and how we're moving forward in our district would be a positive report to have at some point.
I just wanted to add to that too. I think that Mr. Kincaid might have this statistic on his website, but nationally, students are surveyed, and the national average of students feeling safe in their school environment is
It's 75%.
75%. But at Sandburg, their percentage is 93% feel safe in their school. And
That's
really
the
good.
that's the Gallup poll that we do each year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if I might add one other thing, Sandburg staff, they are constantly presenters at the national, state level as far as PBIS conferences go. They're well known throughout the state as really having an exemplary program. So everybody throughout the state recognizes it on an ongoing basis.
And we-
That's why it's hell of an English teacher.
There's a school or two that I think needs a little shoring up, and maybe the people from Sandburg could
Yeah, could do home visits within our own.
do some business within our own. It's nice to have national recognition, but we need to spread things throughout the
That's right.
district. So I'll give you those names.
You always do.
Alrighty.
All right.
On to consent action items.
Or the consent? Yep.
President Zimmers and members of the board.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I recommend approval of the consent action items 8.2 through 8.5 as described in the corresponding resolutions.
So moved.
Second?
There's something on there for you. You're down there, personnel. Sorry.
Is there a second? Okay. Any discussion about any of the consent action items? Okay, hearing none, take a vote.
Funderburg.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
McFarland.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Flamini.
Aye.
That is 7 aye votes, motion carries.
Okay, roll call.
Now I'll turn it over to Gina for personnel. We skipped those consent items. Don't worry about it.
Okay. President Zimmers and members of the board, the superintendent recommends adoption of the personnel recommendations as presented.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, take roll.
Johnson.
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
McFarland.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Flamini.
Aye.
Funderburg.
Aye.
That is 7 aye votes, motion carries.
Okay, 9.2, student discipline.
Yeah, I know. Do you have the scripts?
It's there on, I left it up there with your.
I got it. Thank you. President Zimmers, members of the board, it is my recommendation that one sixth-grade student be hereby expelled from further attendance at Washington Middle School through the end of 2014-2015 school year with a program.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll take roll.
Lopez.
Aye.
McFarland.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Rouini.
Aye.
Thunderbird.
Aye.
Johnson.
Present.
That is 6 aye votes and 1 present. Motion carries.
Okay. Anything else?
And that's it.
Anything?
Mayor?
I have an
Okay.
announcement, please.
Yes.
On Thursday, September the 4th, this week, the Springfield branch NAACP will host a forum on race relations in the city of Springfield at Southeast High School at 6:30 PM. We welcome everyone to attend.
Thank you. Okay, that's it. This is it for this meeting. Right, next regular meeting is Monday, September the 15th, and 6:30. So everybody have a great week, and thanks for coming.